Guys, it's Tara and welcome back for some more crafty inspiration here on my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making our own embossed glitter paper. So if you love what you see, go ahead and click that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell so that you get alerted every single time we are getting crafty over here. So I started out by cutting some Neenah Solar White into a 5x5 card base, and then I cut another two 5x5 panels that I am going to use for some of the accents on my card. So the big fun thing that we are doing on this card is creating our own glitter fabulous, basically like cardstock is what we're doing. So this is Neenah Solar White. I took a 5x5 square and then a scrap from cutting the 5x5 square, and I have this absolutely gorgeous aqua tinsel embossing powder. And I basically, you guys, this technique is so easy. I took my clear embossing pad, sorry, I got a frog in my throat there, and I just squished it, which is the technical term. I smushed it, squished it all up in my paper. So I basically just want the entire surface covered with that clear ink so that the embossing powder will stick to everything. So you can see I didn't do a very good job on this first one. It really helps to have a nice juicy ink pad when you do this technique, and mine is not super juicy right now, which is fine. I'm going to show you how I kind of fix this strip that has a little bit of not as much as I want. I tried to just put it right on top of the wet embossing powder after I heated it up, and it did not work. So I'll come back to that. So I put some ink on this earlier, but obviously I'm doing it again because I just want to make sure after that first one that it's extra super inky, and it had been a couple minutes. So I am really just smushing this down, you guys. I want this entire 5x5 square to be covered in this ink. And then I'm going to just coat the entire thing in that gorgeous embossing powder and heat it up. So this is a really great way to make your custom cardstock if you're like, oh my gosh, I just really need a specific color, or I really need some sparkle, or whatever. Or hey, if you're anything like me, I've been collecting these gorgeous embossing powders and I have never used them. I tend to really do all my embossing in like black and white and the occasional clear. It's like I collect these gorgeous embossing powders and I don't know what the heck to do with them, you guys. So this is a really great way to use some of those gorgeous embossing powders too. You could do like rainbow stripes, you could do some ombre. Like, this is just a really fun, easy technique to create your own awesome custom papers. So this one I did go ahead and re-smush with my ink and put a second layer of that embossing powder on there. So it's going to get this nice extra thick, like gorgeous. You can layer that stuff up, you guys, and it makes it extra kind of thick and chunky, which is fabulous. So I'm going to do later, I'll show you, I'm going to actually do some die cutting out of this little strip that I made so that it coordinates. So that's another thing you can do with creating these custom papers. I'm going to use the big piece for the background of the front of my card, but you could absolutely create your own like custom papers with your embossing powders and then die cut them. Let's just all pause for a minute and have the therapeutic moment of watching this giant thing of embossing powder melt. Does anybody else like love it? Like, I could just watch it melt all day long. This embossing powder is not quite as obvious. Some of them have like a really drastic change, and it's just like so calming to watch it melt. It's like those, you guys ever get like when you're scrolling Instagram and people put the things that are like calming on there, like people slicing Play-Doh and like random stuff like that. I feel like heating up embossing powder, like large chunks of embossing powder, should totally be on one of those. So look how sparkly and gorgeous this is, you guys. Custom made cardstock, like boom, right away. So much fun. So I'm using this super fun stencil from Sizzix. This is like a big circle of sparkles. And so I'm running that through my die cut machine on one of those other 5x5 pieces of cardstock that I cut at the beginning. And then I'm just going to go through and I'm going to poke out all these little tiny stars, y'all. And then I ended up saving a couple of the little stars that I poked out because I thought that they'd be fun to maybe use later on the card. So part of the idea for this card came from the fact that I realized I could put a little circle die cut right in the middle of that awesome sparkle ring and create a cutout and have something, you know, kind of front and center and framed. And I thought that was really fun. So I went ahead and did that. And now I'm going to adhere my custom embossed cardstock to the front of this 5x5 card base that I made. So 5x5 square card base, pretty bomb. You can fit it right in a 5x7 envelope. So it's a nice size. I just basically figured out how big that stencil, I'm sorry, it's not a stencil, it's a die cut, that sparkly circle die cut was, and then made my card accordingly. I had to trim off some pieces because I can't ever adhere anything straight, like literally to save my life, so don't worry about it. If you can't do that, you can always fix it later. I am using a couple of Ellen Hudson stamp sets today, you guys. These are oldies but goodies, and I'm so excited that they are both still available on the Ellen Hudson website. This is the Rainbows and Unicorns stamp set, and then later I'm going to use the Pure Magic Sentiment stamp set, which is bomb diggity. So I'm going to color these sweet little unicorns with my Copics. This is going to be pretty basic Copic coloring, you guys. I'm trying something new with the video, so you guys are going to have to let me know what you think about it. I realized that I make really long in-depth cards, and I have a struggle when I'm editing to remove any piece of it. It's like, okay, so here's the deal, you guys. I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories. I used to be like a writer, and I feel like you need all the pieces, or at least a glimpse of all the pieces, to get the full story. Like, some people are really good at editing out some of the like way more boring parts. I can't do it. Like, I need every moment in the video, at least for a moment, because that's the full story. But the problem is it takes me stinking forever to make a card. So my videos get real long, you guys. And so I've been speeding them up really super fast to try to make them not so long. And I was like, you know what? Sometimes you just can't get the full effect of the how-to when it's going that fast. So anyway, this is my really long-winded way of saying that I have kind of picky-choosied on this video which parts I'm going to speed up super fast and which parts I'm only going to speed up kind of fast. So like, I left the Copic coloring a little bit slower this time so that maybe those of you who enjoy Copic coloring can actually see what the heck I'm doing, because normally it goes so fast that it looks like I'm just like flying through the page. At some point I'll do more specific, like a Copic coloring tutorial type thing, you know, but like I said, I struggle. I just like to do projects from beginning to end. Like, that's... Anyhow, I'm just rambling on. I totally put my marker out of frame there, so I put the colors on the screen at the beginning. That was RV55 and RV52. So I am coloring these unicorns exactly the same, you guys. So I forgot to do the body on this second gal, so I came back in with my RV00 and did her little outline. And then I'm just going to do their manes in exactly the same color combos. I'm only using 2 colors per rainbow color of the Copic. I'm just going to share a little secret with you guys. A little secret of the behind the scenes here is that my MacBook that I use for editing is a little bit older, and I have switched to doing the high quality like 1080p video, which looks bomb, but my MacBook is struggling hard to process this video. So I'm sitting here doing this overview, and the whole video is like super herky-jerky, you guys. Like, it's so hard to try to narrate what's going on the screen because it keeps jumping like from one spot up to the next. It's crazy. I don't know if I'm supposed to share that, but that's a little behind the scenes, like, you know. So hopefully my words are lining up with what's happening in the video, because I just don't really have... I don't have as clear of a view as I would like. So I went with pink, purple, and then these super cute blue greens. This is kind of one of my go-to combos, you guys. I'm pretty sure I used this same combo basically on the last card that I did, because these are my colors. These are my jam, you guys. I dig them. I completely forgot to do the purple on the little tail of this unicorn, but I'm going to go back in afterwards and do the purple in the tail. You guys can see I'm just putting down a little bit of the dark, occasionally doing a tip to tip to blend it out, but really I want the blend to be pretty severe. I want you to really see the stark difference between the dark and the light, because this is just a really whimsical card, which y'all know is my jam, right? And so I feel like it makes it more kind of whimsical and artsy and like a kid's storybook illustration kind of, when you can see that like kind of more harsh line. So Once I finished coloring these gals, I became a crazy person and I fussy cut these little unicorns, including their teeny tiny little stick legs. I was really scared I was going to cut a leg off, but I went ahead and fussy cut them out because I want them to not have the little white lines, so I did not use my brother's scan and cut this time. So you can basically see that that's the gist of the card, you guys. I do have to get my sentiments going. So there's that amazing Pure Magic sentiment set. It has some of the most fun sentiments in it, like ever, especially if you're a fan of unicorns and whimsy and all things sparkly like I am. So I'm going to perform some stamp surgery here. So for those of you for whom this gives you a little bit of a heart attack or anxiety, I apologize. This stamp says, go forth and be fabulous, but I just wanted it to say go forth and, because I found an old sparkle die cut that I wanted to use, like a word die cut. So I just needed that beginning of the sentiment, you guys. So unfortunately, this die that I'm using is from Ellen Hudson and I could not find it on the website. So I went ahead and linked below for you guys and over at my blog to some other sparkle word dies that I found that are super cute, just so that if you wanted to recreate this look, you could have that option. I am going to cut this out of some black cardstock 3 times because I want to glue them together and make them a little more sturdy. And here's where I'm going to use that piece of embossed little extra paper that we made at the beginning. The stamp, this die set comes with some individual little stars here. So I went ahead and cut some of those out with the that fun embossed paper so that it coordinates. So now that I have those sparkle die cuts, and you can see I put that go forth and on another piece of black there in white. And then I also embossed one of those really cute sentiments on the inside in the same embossing powder that we made the paper with. So everything's all coordinated. It's pretty fabulous. So I'm just going to stack up these 3 die cuts. So I'm doing this to give it a little bit of depth and dimension and sturdiness because this is a really frail little die cut here and I wanted it to just be a little bit more sturdy. I wanted it popped up off the card a little bit, but obviously I am not going to be cutting no foam tape to go on the back of that teeny tiny little word. So this is a way to make sure that you have all the parts supported, but you still get a little bit of depth on your die cut. So super stinking fun. Now we're just going to put it together, y'all. Super simple. I am using foam tape on the back of that front panel, and I'm just going to line it up exactly with the front of the card. I will tell y'all that later I put like a heavy book on this because that foam tape did not want to stick to that embossing powder very well. But after I put I put a book on the foam overnight, and it stuck really well after I did that. So I popped the unicorn up in the middle. And then you can see I put a couple of those little cutout stars that came out of the die cut in the middle there, just to kind of put that white on top of the aqua and kind of tie it all in together. And now I'm going to put my sentiment on the front, and it says go forth and sparkle, which I think is super fun. So you get this, the ring of sparkles in the die cut, and then obviously the background is super stinking sparkly with that Tinsel embossing powder. And then I'm going to finish off the inside by putting that second little unicorn directly on the inside, and I'm going to add those sparkly stars. And you guys know me. Okay, what am I going to do next? I'm so predictable. I am going to get out my Spectrum Noir Sparkle Overlay pen and cover in their rainbow hair, because the point of this card is to sparkle, so we have to put all the sparkles on it, right? Their horn also has like a jelly roll sparkle on it, so, you know, I can't resist. So look at all that amazing sparkle on this card, you guys. So much fun. Super easy to do. You can make this cardstock with embossing powder to coordinate with any project that you're doing. So I really encourage you to go try it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You can join me on Instagram, Facebook. I love it when you hit the like and when you leave me comments and when you subscribe. Here's another couple videos for you to continue your crafty watching today. And I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so very much. Bye.